has departed for the summer.
The Sean Beard experience.
That actually was the name of my Doors cover band in the 80s. Apologies to everyone. I was not thinking when I scheduled this episode, and I realized as I look over that USA and Germany are just about to play. So apologies, everyone, but we had to have the show at some point.
I mean, you can do both. That's what I'm doing.
And yesterday we had Google I/O, so that precluded us from being able to do this.
Yep.
And that is going to be the majority of the show, and I think we should start off with the biggest story of the day, that Google builds killer robots.
And they're hiding in the curtain behind you.
Yes, I actually... Joey, I was going to make a sign and I didn't have time that said Google killer robots and put it on the sheet. I just spoke to John Rattinger a little bit ago on the phone, and he said the first protester, he really could not hear what they were saying. The second protester, though, just went on and on about Google builds killer robots, where's their morality?
Didn't Google, like, acquire Boston Dynamics forever ago?
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess tinfoil hat wearers have an inkling of evidence that maybe, maybe they are building killer robots, but I don't think so. They're probably building robots that can walk on ice really well.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that gets me.
Typical Google.
Unless you were press, it costs $900 to get into I/O.
Yeah.
So these people spent $900 to come in and shout.
Well,
but didn't they run in from the back or something?
That I'm not sure.
I don't know either, but that's what it seemed like.
John said after the second protester there were security guards in every aisle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I bet. It's ridiculous, though. I don't know.
But beyond the protesters, it was an interesting Google I/O, and I think we can just go around the table here, and Todd, let's start with you. What was the one thing that really stood out to you as the big announcement?
Well, and you may as well tick this off from Sachin Bahal, because he asked, "What's the thing that wowed you most and least?"
Yes, all right. Thank you. I will do that. There we go.
There you go. To me, it was more of like the whole takeaway, the theme of the event, which is sort of very much Android everywhere, because they talked about Android Wear, Android Auto in the car, Android TV, Google Fit, the health platform. So it's like Android literally everywhere, and I think that was the biggest takeaway for me, because we haven't seen it in other places like that before in the past, where Google tried with the Nexus Q to have this like home. I always laugh at that product. This central home hub. Then you have the Chromecast, which they don't run Android, but now this is like Android-powered stuff. So that's what my big takeaway was.
I love the fact that we still have the Nexus Q in the Irvine office. It's just like up on a shelf, like worship the Q. The forgotten Google product.
Bowling ball.
That thing weighs so much.
Yeah. And also, go on.
I was just going to say real quick, Todd. I have to echo your sentiment here. Like Android everywhere is kind of was a big theme yesterday, and it was something that I almost thought was kind of cool. Just because I am kind of ready for a unified platform across everything. And I was joking with Sean during the show, but like Android Kitchen, like I could totally see that being reality. 5 years from now.
Well, we got a press release yesterday from Whirlpool about they were releasing a new washer and dryer that will talk with a Nest thermostat, and the thermostat will tell it, okay, they're out of the house, you've run your cycle, maybe you should run another quick cycle to freshen up the clothes.
Oh, weird.
Whoa.
Yeah, and also it will tell the washer and dryer, okay, we're going into a high energy usage hour, don't run right now.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so that's what. Well, that's just, I was saying, that's kind of what you were saying, Joey. I think that's where we're going. I think we are going to get, for right now, there's going to be a couple competing platforms, but at some point we are going to get one platform where everything is connected.
I mean, and just to piggyback off of that even further, it's like, I mean, maybe I'm weird. I don't know if you guys do this, but like I cook a lot, and my kitchen, my thermostat, which is like, just because our building is really narrow, like it's tall, it's 3 stories, but it's really narrow. So the only place for the thermostat was like in the kitchen, which is just the worst. You should never put a thermostat in the kitchen, because that's the room that fluctuates the most with temperature, right? Mm-hmm. Like if I cook something in the kitchen, like the thermostat's going up. But it'd be really awesome if I had a multi-platform device that told me basically like, hey, right now if it's getting really cold outside, now would be a good time to bake bread, or it's really extremely hot and we're taking a lot of energy to cool the house down. Don't bake right now. You know what I mean? Like that would be awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, I think that's a great idea. And when you mentioned Android Kitchen, Joey, I mean, yeah, I kind of chuckled at first, but then I got to think about that'd be damn awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you think about Apple's HomeKit, which is sort of the platform to connect all these devices also. So, I mean, whether or not they'll call it a kitchen or not, is one thing. But I really do think that, yeah, I mean, this is all about the connected devices and in every room, even though it sort of starts with the living room, it seems like these days.
My hesitation on this is just the sheer fact that none of us are made of money means that this connected lifestyle, like having Android Auto, having the Nest Home stuff, having your phone, having Android Wear, having Google Glass, everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a tall order to have that infiltrate the market all at once. Like, you're basically asking your customers to go buy new watches and new cars and crazy weird-ass glasses all this year. You need to do it this year or else it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, did anyone find it interesting that there was no mention of Google Glass yesterday?
Yeah, I did. That's crazy. I think another site called it the big elephant in the room, but it really was. I mean, in previous IOs, they've had people skydive in wearing glass. Like, it's a huge thing. And then not even a peep yesterday. Like, it's unless glass is going to have its own event soon.
The biggest thing about Glass yesterday was how many people in the audience were wearing it. Well,
the only people going to I/O as fans are probably explorers.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I would say for me the biggest thing, I definitely the Android Wear demonstration. If it works as well as those demonstrations, wow,
Yeah.
that was.
Cool.
It looked awesome, and now I know we also have a question in here somewhere, and I will find it. But of the 3 Android Wear devices that were shown yesterday, here it is from Nolan. Oh, Nolan, I'm sorry. There's no way I'm going to say that last name correctly.
Snoyink.
What is your favorite Android Wear device? Which of the 3 impressed you the most? Joey, we'll start with you this time.
I mean, it's the Moto 360, and it has nothing to do with the actual tech of the device. It's just the design. I mean, we've talked about it before, Sean, and I know that I've said it on this show before. The big hurdle for me when it comes to a smartwatch and wearable tech is aesthetic attractiveness. I think that the Moto 360 needs a better band. I think the one that they have on that demo unit that John shot a video of, or Jonathan, the almighty Jonathan, shot a video of. I didn't find that attractive, but the shape of the device, the round display, the fact that it looks like a watch, that's what I want. There's a reason why people with Google Glass look so silly, and it's because it does not look like glasses. I do not want something on my wrist that does not look like a watch. I want it to look like a watch. It needs to be a watch. And Moto 360 is and just because I'm a big fan of the circular faces on watches anyway, that's just the one that speaks to me the loudest.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's the one I want the most. I went with I ordered the G Watch yesterday, and really the only reason, and because I don't think either the G Watch or the Samsung look particularly good at all. The only reason I went with the G Watch is because it had a slightly bigger battery, and I know that the one thing I hate about wearables is poor battery life, and I'm not expecting much out of this. I know some people were saying like 36 hours if it's always on, and more if you have the screen going on and off, which just looks weird. So I don't know.
The 2 things that I was, Sean, I want you to pick your favorite, but maybe we can segue into this.
Yeah.
Battery life and cost. Now we know that the LG GG is 200, right? That's 199.
229.
229 for the LG G Watch, yeah.
Will the Moto be cheaper based on what Google's already done with like the Moto X and everything?
We don't know. I think it's going to be the most premium product, actually.
Really?
Like,
I mean,
there's like all the talk of wireless charging and all kinds of fun stuff with that one. So.
But Google's, I mean, they've almost gone Amazon recently with their products. The Chromecast, the Moto X, like, ignore the Nexus line, but just the Moto X, the Chromecast, they've just kind of said, like, let's lower the barrier for entry.
No, I mean, I hope so. They haven't announced the price, but to me, it just looks like the most premium, just like you're saying, too, with aesthetics. So I'm guessing it's more, but I don't know.
It makes me sad. I am not spending $300 for a smartwatch. I'm sorry.
I hope it's not 300, but who knows?
I would say of the 3, the 360, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. I did end up ordering a G Watch yesterday. Like Todd, I went with it due to the battery. It was $30 more than the Gear Live, but the battery was a big selling point to me. Now, the Gear Live said on its page, its information page, it said 1 day battery life. The G Watch did not say how long it would last, but considering it's got a bigger battery and a smaller screen, I would say probably 36 hours, like you said, Todd.
Yeah, that's what a product manager was telling people, I guess. Which, I mean, I don't know. That's still really bad, actually. Like, charging a watch every day is the most annoying thing in the world. And I also didn't go with Samsung Gear Live because that heart rate monitor, like, if anybody's buying it for that, you're crazy because it doesn't work well on the other watch. I mean, it kind of works, but, like, it's not good, and you can't use it when you're running or anything, so there's no point.
I don't really. If I can be completely honest with you, I think that heart rate monitors are some of the more ridiculous pieces of tech that I just don't see.
It's crazy.
Like heart rate manometers, and pedometers.
Hey, it's Q.
Q. Heart rate monitors and pedometers.
Pedometers.
God, pedometers.
Your pedometer's off the charts.
Is that a measurement of how many?
Don't stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop it.
Oh boy.
Your pedometer. I just think they're two useless pieces of tech. I mean, like, if you're gonna go for a run, go for a run. Like, you don't need a heart rate monitor to know that you worked out for 30 minutes. Like, if I go run a 5K and I do it in 29 minutes, I know that I've worked out.
No, you're still alive.
My heart rate. Like, what does my heart rate have to do with it?
It's true.
Just keep on laughing about pedometers, Sean. Just keep on laughing.
I can't stop. You know, now here's the thing, though. I mean, yesterday what we saw of Android Wear, if those screens are as good as they showed, amazing, absolutely amazing. And I have to wonder how Pebble is still going to fit into everything. I mean, I wear a Pebble. I love my Pebble. But
Price?
But the price isn't that big of a difference, especially with the Gear Live, and the Pebble Steel is pretty close to the G Watch.
Yeah. Thing that Pebble has going for it is battery life, super huge ecosystem of apps already, and I know that Android's going to have tons coming too. And then, you know, a pretty solid fan base, I think. And so people that already have Pebble might be like, you know, it works for me and I don't really want anything else. I don't know how they're going to compete in the future. I mean, I think color is going to be huge and features. But who knows? Maybe, I mean, why? We can't rule out that maybe Pebble would become a partner one day, right? Like, seems like they should. They have a great name.
Now, we have a question from a John Q. I'd only pick up a smartwatch if it has really, really good fitness integration, e.g. Fitbit level good. Are there any out there right now? Not yet, but Google did announce Google Fit yesterday, and we think we may have already seen the first leaked images of the first Google Fit watch.
And Google announced that they're opening up the SDK for Android Wear for everyone too, so it's going to be limited by whatever third-party developers put out there. If Google makes a first-party like run tracking, like Runkeeper or Runtastic, although Runtastic's gotten awful. If they make something like that, like a first-party one for a watch, it'll be game over. I'll be so jammed up. They do that. If they do a run, like an exercise tracker and like a calorie counting fitness app, I'll be super psyched. But who knows? I mean, what between Apple and Google, like, what are the benefits to their fitness center things anyway? Like, what is it, Health Kit or whatever?
Yeah, well, Health Kit. Go ahead and take it, Todd.
Well, sorry, I think I misunderstood the question because I was also reading an email. Runkeeper is coming to Android Wear. Grace Chang told me about that yesterday, Joe.
Hey, it's Grace.
Yeah. So that'll be cool. What was the question though? Was it Apple?
What are my perks for Google and Apple's like proprietary first-party health apps, their health systems?
Well, we haven't. All we've seen with Apple's is Health Kit and Health. What's it? It's not Health Book. What they end up calling it, I forget. In iOS 8. And so, but that's not really like active yet. It's not doing anything. So we're kind of waiting to see what's going to be used to populate it. But we already there already are third-party health products that work with iOS, so that'll be tapped in there too. Then with Google, I don't know yet. That's what we're going to see with Google Fit. So really, it's like it's the starting days of this all right now. Like we don't really know which one's going to come out on top or how good they're going to be.
I mean, if Google can leverage their third-party support and make a really good fitness center and incorporate all of that into Android Wear, it could be really, really good for fitness stuff. I don't need a heart rate monitor and pedometer. I just don't need that stuff. But just a nice tracker, maybe I could keep my phone in my pocket or whatever, or in an armband unplugged, and that'd be awesome.
Yeah, well, phones already have them built in now. I think it was part of the Snapdragon 800 processor, or at least some of the newer Snapdragons where they do track steps and stuff like that. So like the HTC One M8, Galaxy S5, and a lot of the newer handsets sort of act as pedometers themselves. They're not accurate though, at all.
They are not accurate at all.
which brings us back to a series we want to do I guess next month, Sean, right, where we're going to talk about health gadgets and how important it is for them to actually be right. Because when they're wrong, there's no point to them at all.
Right. And sometimes you end up somewhere you don't want to be.
Right. Now, Samsung has this, and it kind of went overlooked by a lot of people. Last month they introduced the SIM band, it was called. It's a platform too, SIM band, SIM band, and it's this watch with like different colored lights and lasers that run through and go through. I guess they shoot through your wrist, and depending on what you're doing, it can actually monitor like blood oxygen levels. I think it could do. Oh, I forget. But it had like a bunch of awesome stuff. It's like the most advanced health platform I've seen yet.
What, at what point are we crossing over into like hypochondriac level of fitness awareness here? Like, why do I need to know my blood oxygen levels at all times and my heart rate and my blood pressure? Like,
and your pulse arrival time. I'm looking at it now. Real-time EKG, all kinds of stuff.
And that's a great question.
Blood pressure.
2 years ago when we were at CES, I came down with the flu, and I told the rest of the staff, I'm not going to make it to the show floor today. I'm running a temperature of 102.6, and like a year later, Roy finally goes, "How did you know that your temperature was 102.6?" I was like, "I travel with a thermometer." and he goes, "Why?" I was like, "I travel a lot. You get sick on the road. Your temperature kind of helps tell you what's wrong.
What's going on, yeah."
Yeah, but no, you have an excellent point, though, Joey. I mean, at what point will we all turn into hypochondriacs because we have all these things monitoring us at all times?
I mean,
sometimes they're incorrect.
But the health stuff, it's just like, I need a smart watch because I want to be on death watch 24/7. Like, am I dying right now?
You're dying.
I estimate you have 14,893 days left.
Yeah, smart, Joey, your blood oxygen level is pretty low. Your cholesterol is super high. You're going to be dead in 2 months.
See now, but for people with like diabetes and stuff, I think it's super cool because. Like my brother has to watch his blood sugar levels like crazy, like all day long, and he has these different. They look like Blackberries, like these other devices to monitor it all the time. And if he could just do it all from a phone and have it accurate and be dead on, or look at his wrist, then that would be pretty cool, I think.
I'm not. This is not directed at your brother Todd, so please don't read it that way.
No, I'm not.
What is with? This is getting soapboxy as crap, and I'll step off it quickly. But what is with the state of society if we have to if a big concern for market domination for these companies is monitoring frickin' cholesterol levels?
Oh yeah, it's true.
The fact that they're even going after that segment of the market says a lot about the state of health here in the world generically. It's just ridiculous that this is like one of the features of these new phones is monitoring how close you are to death because you eat too much.
I know, it's crazy. Like who needs to know that? If you have regular blood pressure, I think you're supposed to get it checked like once every 2 years.
Yeah.
Like why do you care on your wrist? Like
wake
up
check in
the morning. Good to know.
Got check in.
That's ridiculous.
No, I tend to agree with you. I mean, now that being said, my parents who are getting older and do have a lot of health issues, I could see some of this stuff for them, but for your average.
And for them, they're like, oh, it's too complicated. I mean, in general, older people are like, oh.
Exactly. Yes, that is exactly where I was going. It's way too over their heads. I love my parents to death. Luckily, they don't watch the show. But I could just see that. I would. Oh. He's a master of Netflix. I get 15 calls. John, how does this take my blood pressure again? Do I wrap it around your neck, Dad? Just right there. Press the gauge button.
How many pedos do I have?
Watch. Is it okay to leave the house? Pedometer off the charts.
Oh, we can't leave because it's too humid.
Pedometers are great. It's a natural pedo bear deterrent.
On cue, my watch, my pedometer is buzzing.
It alerts you to nearby pedo bears.
Oh man.
God. I regret nothing.
Oh, this show's gone so off the rails.
Yeah.
From Vincent Messina, who wants to watch the World Cup? You've got us talking about pedo bear. From Vincent Messina, what do you think is a reasonable price for the Moto 360? Yeah. That's a great question because we've been sitting here discussing that.
Yeah. What is reasonable?
Well, we need the feature set first. Like, if it stands out more from the other products, then it can't just be round. So I don't know.
But watch bands are so cheap. I hope they let us customize, man. I really hope they do. Because if it's like it's $300 and you get a black rubber watch, I'm gonna be like, no.
Yeah, right. I have a feeling it's gonna come in around $300.
Ugh.
I have a feeling that's kind of
is that
you know what's crazy? That these things have Snapdragon 400 processors in them.
I know.
More powerful.
How long ago was that? Like the top of the line phone processor?
Well, it came out in the family when Snapdragon was introduced with like the 200, 400, 800. But I don't know, like how much more powerful was it than like the S4 Pro, I guess, and all that stuff. These are a couple years old. I don't know.
Now, did those come out in the
family? You go to the phones in emerging markets. What's that?
Did those come out in the family or the Framley?
The family. No, it's like 200, 400, 800, sort of like the family that was introduced. I don't know.
Right. No, I mean it's crazy to me that these things are running Snapdragon 400s. I'm just like,
is $300 reasonable to hit Vincent's that? Because I think that's a key point here. What's reasonable? Like what's reasonable for consumers and what's reasonable for Google for that watch?
What I paid yesterday for the G Watch, $229, that was pretty much my upper limit for what I would pay.
See, that's too much for me. I'm never going to pay $230 for a watch ever.
No, and it was a tough call for me. I mean, I flipped back and forth between the G Live and the
Gear Live, yeah.
Yeah, the Gear Lives, thank you, and the G Watch. I don't know how many times going because I would have preferred to have paid $200. But
what's there? God, I'd love to know a breakdown of how much it's costing them to make that watch.
Oh, probably not much.
No, it can't. It can't be. Like the screen is tiny. A Snapdragon.
Those screens are probably like the chips that broke off the manufacturing line for the phones. Like,
put them in the watch box.
Tiny. Yeah, put them in the watch box.
Sir, this one's not quite fit right. Watch box.
Yeah, exactly.
Reasonable for me. I have a dream price. If they come out and they're like Moto 360 is $150, I will just be like, yes. Honey, here it is.
That'd be awesome.
It'd be awesome, but I'd say keep dreaming, unfortunately.
It'll never happen.
That's okay. We'll just wait wait a year, it'll be $49.
$49 at Best Buy.
Yeah.
Wood'll have them refurbished.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we have a ton of questions, so let me jump back in here and thank you all for all the questions. Thank you for pouring yourselves away from the World Cup to join us. From that guy with a Mac. Took me a second to figure out what all the letters were there. Do you think the Android L preview will be suitable as a daily driver on a Nexus 5? Todd, that'd be.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, it's not out yet. It's coming today, right?
Yeah.
So we haven't installed it. I hope so. And if it is, I'll probably buy a Nexus 5.
Ooh.
Because ours is going out there. But I'd love to play with the Android L, especially as like it advances, I assume, into the fall.
See,
I don't see any.
I gotta tell you though, iOS 8 has been so bad. I went back to iOS 7 over the weekend because I could not deal with iOS 8. Wow. It actually locked me out of my phone. I was sitting in a restaurant and I went to enter in my passcode and it kept telling me I was wrong. And then it was like, you have to try again in 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and I was like, that's it. I'm done with this.
No, Todd. That's not how you open the phone.
But iOS 8 was terrible. So I hope it's not that buggy because, you know.
We don't have any questions, and I have a question from Joey Davidson here on the side. What do you guys think about what is it? Material?
Yeah.
Material. What did they call it?
Material design, I think. And actually,
when they first came out, can I tell you that when they first came out and they started talking about it in the demo that they showed and the verbiage that they used, I thought they were about to unveil like a screen that dimpled and stuff like that. Am I the only one?
So did I. I know. So did I.
Yeah. Look at the waving screen. I was like, oh my god, are they going to come out with a tactile
What is going here? Yeah.
Yeah, and then they were just like, lol. Oh, someone did ask about it. Christopher Miles asked about material design.
No, I agree with you, Joey. As soon as I saw that up on the screen, I was like, oh my god, what have they done? And
then they just slowly just like troll us and just said, no, just kidding. It's shadows.
Yeah, it's just fancy for shadows. It seems like I get it. You can develop in another dimension, I guess. I don't know. Whatever that means.
What's Christopher Miles' question? Do you think the new material design aesthetic is going to lead to a redesign of Chrome OS or even the Chrome browser? They seem like the odd ones out at this point.
I think so.
Carry the language.
They'll start in one thing and then they'll move it across all their products. So if this is their new idea for design, this material design, then yeah, I think we'll eventually see it move across all the products.
Right.
You know, here's a quick question. Have either of you guys really played with Chrome OS?
Yeah, my sister-in-law has a Chromebook.
Very much just like the Chrome browser.
Yeah, well, I ended up picking up one of the Asus Chrome boxes. Again, for my family because they're getting older and they don't move around as much. So I hooked it up to our television, and then that way they can sit on the couch and use it. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of nice. I really like it. And when they talked yesterday about being able to now use Android apps on it. I was like, oh,
That was cool.
This just got way more interesting.
I got to tell you that if it wasn't for the fact that it's missing video editing software and like recording it software for podcasts and like doing gaming videos for me, like I would be on the Chromebook train just because going to conventions, I really hate lugging around my MacBook. Like it's, I just don't want to. I'd rather have just something that just gets me to TechnoBuffalo's back end and lets me write whatever I want and then get out, and then that would be awesome. But
that's what I want to more of, just like this simple, super simple, and that's what that is. I know.
Yeah.
I wish it had video editing. That's like the one thing that holds me back too.
Same Sickles, brother.
And the battery life seems great on them, right? So.
Yeah, and it's a gorgeous, simple design too. I mean, it's and the price is right for the Samsung ones. What is it, like $400 for like a decent?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you're somebody that isn't in like our field and you have to do a lot of video editing and photo editing and all that, if you're just like an email web surfer, go for a Chromebook.
Yeah, my sister-in-law has one, loves it. So
yeah, I mean, for your average internet user, knock yourselves out. It's great.
Call it the Reddit machine, and then that would be that.
Yeah, there you
go. From Eric Broman, what are your thoughts on the new look of Android L, and any ideas what the L will stand for? As for what it will stand for, the prevailing thought right now is lollipop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But so yeah,
we got lollipops yesterday.
Did you notice, Todd, that the home button and the return button and all that were redesigned?
Yeah.
You mean to rounded PlayStation logos? Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, it looked a lot like PlayStation.
Yeah.
I mean, we really didn't get to see that much of it, and we'll know more once we can update our Nexus 5 today. And I'm debating updating my Nexus 7. I haven't decided yet. But yeah, I mean, what we saw looked interesting, but it really, I think, was just like a taste.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, obviously, they didn't even name it yet officially.
Yeah.
Well,
they only showed us screenshots and stuff.
Which isn't that the first time they've done that, Todd, where they just called it by the letter?
Yeah. Yeah.
They had a lot of crap going on yesterday. What did the thing run? 2 hours 45 minutes?
Oh,
yeah,
it was insane.
Ridiculous.
Well, and it was packed to the brim there was really very little filler, and I'm wondering, is this just a case where they didn't have the time to literally announce everything, so they kind of had to pick and choose?
Yeah,
that's possible.
But also, that's the other thing that was bothering me yesterday a little bit. I get this is a developer show, but they literally had nothing finished. Like, there wasn't a real Chromecast update yesterday. Like, it's just all this stuff coming this fall, which is great. But I kind of wanted something yesterday. I mean, like, last year it was, like, Chromecast or whatever. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you got your watch.
Yeah, we got the watches, but that was announced back in March, so we've been waiting for that for a while, too. I don't know.
I mean,
Just me.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, but at the same point, I think that it is a developers conference, which is why so many people were jammed up when they were like coding, and we're just like,
yeah, we're like, what is? I don't know.
No, I have to say, when we got to the coding section, I could hear you all zone out, and I'm sitting there going, ooh.
No, and then, at one point I just turned to Todd or Sean, and I'm just like, dude, I got video games to play, man. I gotta go.
Yeah, like, what is this?
I gotta go. I can't do this.
Once again, showing that Joey has the best job ever. Dude, I'm sorry, I've got to go play video games.
Too many video games just showed up. Got to get out of here.
Something we really haven't touched on from Sasha and Bahal. What are each of your thoughts, especially Sean's, on Android TV, and how does it contribute to gadget overload? The first thing that struck me, wow, it looked a lot like Fire TV. Looked a lot like Fire TV. I'm going to have to wait until I actually get my hands on it before I make any sort of final determination because, all right, great, so you can, it knows what you're watching, you can pull up information on it. Okay, well, what's the pass-through going to be on that? Which systems does it work with? Am I just going to patch my DVR through it and then do a pass-through to the television? There's a lot of questions about it. I think when they said the ones that will be built into televisions, though, that interested me more than a set-top box in this particular situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might be the first ones to do it right. Because WebOS from LG looks pretty good, but the smart TV features are terrible. We've gone over this in other shows before, but they're so clunky. So Android could be a good option there.
Every manufacturer's built-in smart stuff is clunky as all get out.
what I think Google is trying to do here with between the television and the auto stuff, I think that they're just saying, like, I feel like they had an internal powwow, like, these guys are doing garbage jobs at creating these platforms. Let's just step up and make one that all of the manufacturers can use. They can stop spending money on R&D for platform design, and we can just come in and say, use our service, and then all of a sudden you have a win-win for both parties.
Yeah, especially because they're already partners in mobile, like when you look at Samsung, LG, Sony, all these. You know.
Yeah. Why don't you just let us build your TV OSs on our own, and then you guys don't have to worry about spending that money.
And Roku kind of did the same thing this year at CES. They announced that some televisions were going to come with Roku built in. But, yeah, see, I was kind of in the market for a television this year. I'm going to hold off now and wait till next year and see what's up, especially with Sharp. You know, Sharp had some gorgeous televisions this year at CES.
Yeah, they did.
And, now they're saying, that they'll be coming with, Android TV built in. It's a definite deciding factor for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Android TV, I'm going to have to wait and see what's going on before I make any sort of decision there. Now, let me look through here. I know we've gotten some stuff about Android in the car, and we have not touched on that yet. I cannot believe how much there was yesterday. It was just one thing after another after another.
Yeah.
But while I'm looking for an Android car question here, I mean, what do you guys think about the idea, the basic idea that your phone will be powering all of this?
It's cool. I think it's really cool. I mean, it's really similar to the way that Apple's doing it, kind of. I mean, in the fact that it's all powered by your phone, and then the automaker, I guess, is building like sort of support in for it. But like, I think there was a lot of confusion when Apple launched CarPlay that like this was a console like sold by Apple, which is not true. It's actually powered.
And actually, I found the question from Christopher.
BlackBerry.
The question from Christopher Miles is: Android Auto or CarPlay the more elegant solution in your opinion? I actually am leaning towards Android Auto.
Looks good. I don't know. I feel like it's people, whatever ecosystem you're in, which is, it's really becoming a huge battle of the ecosystems, and it's really whichever one you're in.
Yeah, it's like demanding pocket space.
Yeah. Well, what intrigued me about Android Auto was the fact that everything is kept on the phone. So if let's say I go out to Irvine 3 or 4 times a year and I rent a car, the idea that I could get in a rental car, plug in my phone, and boom, it's the exact same thing I have at home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
That being said, though, how many people are switching cars that often? And at home, I drive a '99 Tahoe. It has absolutely no fancy features.
My Subaru doesn't have a screen, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I have a 2001 Ford Explorer.
Yeah, I mean, so until I buy a new car, which, honestly, I love my Tahoe so much, I'm going to make sure that thing drives until it's falling apart.
Oh, I'm running mine into the ground. I'm running it straight into the ground.
Yeah. Okay, here's the funny thing. You want to know why I will continue to drive this Tahoe as long as I will? No center console that stretches out. It's far back, so it doesn't do the full length like a lot of center consoles do now.
Oh.
And so, because of how tall I am, my knee, if I'm in a car with a stretched out center console, my knee's banging into the center console all the time.
Yeah.
So basically,
I have that problem. So.
Yeah, the knee room on the Tahoe will keep me driving that car until the end of time.
That's crazy. I have my own CarPlay and Android Auto right now. I just kind of put it into a little dashboard mount.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's quite nice, actually, as I have
really
9,000 cords hanging from it.
Yeah, exactly. So while Roy, they were talking about Android Auto and they talked about how it could, read your text messages out loud. I was like, I messaged Roy. I was like, that's going to be awesome for anyone that's in a sexting relationship.
I'm just going to start sending, whenever John is testing his stuff, I'm just going to start texting him, pedometer warning.
Pedometer warning. Too many
pedos. Yes, Mom, I would be happy to drive you to church and the grocery store on Sunday. Get in the car with me. Here, let me just plug in my phone first.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Incoming message from Janelle. Thank you for last night. It was amazing. Janelle, would you like to respond?
How creepy was that dude leading the Android car demo?
That was just awkward.
There's a lot of funny stuff yesterday. Eric Schmidt, like the mid-level developer. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Like Eric Schmidt. There's another guy, chairman of Google, Eric Schmidt, and then developer comes on stage. We have Eric Schmidt. I was like, that's not him. It's Mother Eric Schmidt. So for anybody, like, I was writing and listening, and they say, like, Eric Schmidt, and I'm like, whoa, 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 he's on stage. And then, of course, it's not him.
Roy just IM'd me and said, I don't like to hear Roy and sexting in the same conversation.
Don't you mean Ray just IM'd you?
Oh, there he is. Hey,
Yes,
Ray.
Ray.
Sorry,
up, Ray?
Ray. We won't mention you and sexting in the same conversation again.
Ray Che.
Oh, my. Let's see here. From Nolan's... I'll let you say his last name, Joey.
What? Nolan Snoyek.
Thank you. Do you think manufacturers will ruin the new interface introduced with Android L when they add a custom skin? Yes.
Yup. Absolutely.
Have you met Samsung?
It's part of the reason why I've been so jazzed about this Moto X, Todd.
Yeah, because they
Like,
didn't
it's
do
just-
much.
It's like, look, it's a phone. Enjoy.
Yep.
Exactly.
All they did was add awesome features on top of Nexus. Of KitKat.
Yep.
Well, and that's a lot of the reason, it takes so long to get an update to a lot of these phones is because they got to run it through the skin, and then they got to, do the testing with the carriers and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Hats off to HTC. I mean, the fact that yesterday announced that 90 days after L comes out, you will have it.
Yeah,
on the
that was
M7
awesome.
and M8. Awesome. Now, in Joey's case with the Moto X, you'll probably have it within a couple days.
Yep.
Yeah, seriously, sometimes ahead of the Nexus, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's what happened with KitKat.
So, but yeah, as to Nolan's question, yeah, they're totally going to ruin the new design. That's what the OEMs do.
Mm-hmm.
So good at it too.
I wonder if anyone at Samsung has on their business card ruiner of Android design.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We make Jelly Bean jelly bad.
Oh my. Oh my. Here's an interesting question from Nathan Gullers. Oh man, guys, I'm
Gosh.
sorry. I am horrible with pronounce. I have the last name Ani, and I feel horrible for
Just
what
say
I do.
Nathan G.
Nathan G.
Gee.
Any chance you guys will make a video on how to install Android L developer version for us newbies who just want to check it out? Hadn't really discussed that, but that might be a possibility.
Do
So,
it.
Stay tuned.
we
Do
should.
it, Todd.
I gotta do it. I gotta send this Nexus out to California.
Oh, yeah, hold up. I got it. I'll just go ahead and do it.
And who knows, though, there's a rumor right now we're covering that there might be a yellow Nexus 5. So if that happens, maybe that's and then I'll do a video.
Wait. If there's a yellow Nexus 5,
Todd's
I'm
got
surprised
it.
Pod hasn't lined up yet.
I always say this, though, because when the red one came out, I was like, oh, I need that. I never bought it.
Another question from Nolan. Do you think Android TV will be more successful than Google TV and Chromecast?
It has to be more successful than Google TV.
More successful than Google TV. I think I could build a more successful
Yeah, Sean TV.
Sean TV coming soon.
Google Cardboard's already more successful.
Google Cardboard. I loved when you linked that to me, bud. I was just like,
What's that?
I
I
was
still don't get it.
It's just like it's like one of those
Quick
crappy yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah, I
it
know.
was a
Like,
total
what's
joke.
the point? I know. I was just like, what?
I love it. I wish it took 45 minutes of their press conference yesterday. It was just Google execs folding cardboard on the stage.
I know. Yeah. How much does that cost? Like 6,000.
When I used to have my comic
these
book
things.
store, of course, we sold comic boxes. It was amazing to me how many customers would end up coming back like an hour after they buy it going, do you know how to assemble this?
Really? They're not
Yeah.
hard.
It would take me, I was like, boom, 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 here.
Just get out of my shop. Just get out of my
Get out.
shop. Get out.
Get
Yeah,
out.
we finally got to the point when we sold a box, we would just immediately go, would you like me to assemble it for you?
Oh man.
But, okay, so yes, I do think Android TV will be more successful than Google TV. Chromecast, that's an interesting question. Because Chromecast has only been $35,
So cheap.
yeah.
Well, you're talking about wildly different markets, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
And different products.
Going to do a lot more than Chromecast does.
Yeah.
Yes to Google TV, not sure on Chromecast.
Yeah. It's
Sean
tough.
Totally
TV will
different
be
products.
Sean TV will be launching in fall 2015.
Sean TV.
Q, no, I'm just scrolling through, and Q must have referenced the health stuff as we were talking to it, and he said, you don't necessarily need to know blood pressure, etc., but I bet Google would love to have access to that info.
Yeah, which is exactly right. It's so
Yeah,
true.
because okay,
We've
so
noticed you're dying. Can we recommend these documents?
there's a joke I want to say so bad right now, but this is a family-friendly show.
You're
But yeah,
dead.
I mean, that's actually somewhat of an interesting question. So let's say that the Android Wear notices your blood pressure's high. You jump on your phone, you see an ad for blood pressure medication.
Totally true. Your erection has clearly lasted longer than 4 hours. Please contact these physicians.
Pedometer. It's off the charts. Oh, man. You're entering a school zone with your pedometer.
I think that's going to be the end of the show.
Yeah, that was...
We lost Joey.
What? Location awareness.
Oh, God.
The 15th episode of the TechnoBuffalo show where John finally pulls the plug on us.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I don't even know how to end this now.
We can go back to the totalitarian robots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totalitarian.
I, for one, welcome our new Google killer robot overlords.
Right. I won't pay $900 to protest them, I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
I won't even pay $200 for a watch. Be serious.
Well, as always, thank you for joining us on the TechnoBuffalo show. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, which we do appreciate if you rate and review the show. You can also subscribe via RSS feed. You can find us on the Stitcher app. You can subscribe on Pocket Casts. Anywhere there's podcasts, you can find the TechnoBuffalo show. And you can relive the greatness of the pedometer. I'm Sean. I am the editor-in-chief of TechnoBuffalo. I've been joined by executive editor of gaming, Joey Davidson.
See you guys.
Executive editor of mobile, Todd Hazelton.
Bye, everybody.
We'll see you back here next week on Wednesday. There are no events on Wednesday next week, so we can return to our regular time. Until then, take it easy, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.